Reporter Mike Walter is live at the Emergency Operations Center with the story.
Well, people here are just finishing up a conference call with the state of Florida about the situation. They are not preparing here in Lee County because officials believe that we're going to remain in the clear. But the magnitude of this spill is getting the attention of a lot of people. Emergency managers are watching the oil slick and hoping the currents and wind do not change to push it here.
Well, it's certainly a crisis. There's no doubt about it. It's a disaster in every respect of the word.
People in the tourism industry are growing nervous. They worry that Europeans, who typically come here in summer, might be frightened away.
They come for a longer period of time, so they're spending more money while they're here in our community. So they are very important to summer economics, absolutely.
Hotels and resorts are coming off a decent but not spectacular winter season. They don't need a disaster heading into the slow time of the year.
Business is not good as it is. We're holding our own compared to last year, but we certainly don't need this type of publicity for our beach areas.
If you destroy beaches, I think that a big portion of tourism is affected.
Nobody would wish this kind of mess on anyone, but by the same token, nobody here wants to deal with an oil slick either.
To see what potentially could happen, Louisiana, look at all they've been through, and to see them having more impacts, it's very, very disheartening and sad to see that happening. And
the managers here are going to be having more conference calls and monitor the situation over the weekend. They have prepared a local declaration of emergency if it's needed for Lee County. Live in Fort Myers, I'm Mike Walter, Wink News Now.
It's closing time on April 9th at a check cashing store on US 41 in Corral Road. Store owner Shane Dial does as he does every night closing up. But in this surveillance video, we see a break in the nightly routine, a robber caught in action. He sneaks up alongside the building in the first clip. The next clip shows Dial about to shut the door when a man dressed in all black grabs him from behind and wrestles him to the ground. For a few seconds, they fight. Then the suspect runs, getting away with the night deposit bag. The suspect then fled through the parking lot of the Miss Q Lounge and on down Corral Road. Bartender Katrina Adams says an overnight burglary a week prior at the Miss Q Lounge motivated staff to upgrade security cameras.
I've worked here for 6 years and I haven't ever had any knowledge of any of the businesses around here having an armed robbery like that, but you never know. Of course, it's in the back of your mind.
Rick Martin at the Vegas-style casino next door heard about the Cash Plus robbery.
I mean, obviously, it's a scary thing. That's why we have a lot of security around here.
Deputies later found the deposit bag on the ground. Turns out, according to Dial, the bag was empty and the robber didn't get away with anything. In any case, he says he hopes the video the suspect left behind catches up with him. In Fort Myers, Max Tournier, Wink News Now.
Cracking down on distracted driving. It's the cause of the year for people ranging from Oprah Winfrey to U.S. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood. But State Representative Ellen Bogdanoff doesn't get the focus against texting. As committee chair, she is preventing the ban from getting a hearing.
We shouldn't be isolating one negative activity when you have many others.
That's why AAA is taking the unusual step of promoting a lobbying campaign.
I've never seen AAA back something as strongly as this.
The group is urging its millions of members to contact lawmakers in Tallahassee.
We urge you to contact the representatives, the Speaker of the House, to get this at least listened to.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
Some students at Gulf Coast University told us they know the dangers of texting.
I've swerved off the road a couple times from texting while driving.
I've texted and drove home before, not even remember driving. It's bad. It's like you're on your own. I think it's worse than drinking and driving, personally.
23 states and the District of Columbia prohibit texting while driving. Wink News Radio talked with police in Connecticut who claim the ban is making roads safer.
As a law enforcement officer, if I do see you weaving outside of your lane and that brings belief that you are texting or a reason to believe that you are speaking on your cell phone while you are driving, then I'm going to take the appropriate enforcement action.
Which brings us back to AAA and its passion to ban texting.
AAA feels that a lot of lives can be saved.
Nick Spinetto is live on Sanibel Island with the details.
Well, you got the beautiful water, the pristine beaches. There's lots of attractions here in Sanibel Island, but tonight there's concern a new law could take it all away. Ask any tourist on Sanibel and they'll tell you the biggest attraction.
Oh, the water. Can't beat it. Can't beat the shelling and being out in the Gulf. It's just beautiful.
Or
the dolphins, the shelling. It's just an amazing wildlife place that's still a pristine environment that's untouched.
But tonight there's concern in City Hall. All this could be in danger. Vice Mayor Mick Denham worries two proposed laws, Senate Bill 382 and House Bill 1445, could pollute the water and damage the ecosystem here. The bills would mandate a uniform application of pesticides to the waters across the state. In a letter to lawmakers, Denham writes, quote, "We strongly oppose a one-size-fits-all approach to fertilizer control. Every locality has its own unique vegetation, soil types, topography, and water quality restoration needs." He says if the bills pass, the island could go from beautiful beaches to a cemetery of dead wildlife and plants. He says pictures like this would be the end result. To that idea, tourists say no thank you.
I don't think you can generalize and mandate one type of fertilizer for all the different ecosystems and environments that Florida encompasses.
I don't think it'd be great at all. It'd be awful.
Businesses are also speaking out. Irvin Gavin, owner of Rose's Deli and Meat, says tourists complain when the beaches look bad.
Last year, we had the Lake Okeechobee release, and it killed a lot of the shrimp and seaweed, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't come back because of that reason.
Now coming back out here to live pictures, you can see some people enjoying the beaches here on Sanibel Island. Now if these laws do pass, they would go into effect in July. We're live here on Sanibel Island tonight. Nick Spinetto, Wink News Now.
One of the big drawbacks to downtown is that the riverfront is mostly parking spots or vacant lots. The new plan would cut a basin from the river and curve it to the edge of the business district. The city hopes to attract a hotel on the banks of this basin. Fort Myers also would build a new parking garage, an amphitheater along the river, and it would expand Harborside Event Center.
We do have a letter of interest from Marriott Hotels that are interested in working with us on the hotel. Roughly a 200 to 220 room hotel is what we'd be talking about.
At least one environmental group is eyeing the project with a bit of suspicion.
We already have problems with our water now. How is this construction going to impact on future water quality?
What else to do on this beautiful day but stop and smell the oil?
Well, I'm smelling that petroleum kind of gasoline type smell in the air.
Sure enough, some of our neighbors are sensing, well, a visit to the pump.
Kind of a gassy, oily. I like to use the service it's kind of a service station smell.
The National Weather Service acknowledges it could come from the oil rig that burned and sank 450 miles to our northwest. The winds and wave action in the Gulf would push any aroma this way. The rig explosion released an oil slick visible by satellite southeast of New Orleans. It's 80 miles long and 40 wide.
And I wondered, I said, what's going on? I didn't realize where it was coming from. And then when I turned the news on, I realized then that it was the fumes from the slick.
But sniff as they might, other people are smelling nothing.
I think it's really psychosomatic. Air feels very fresh and great today. I don't think you can find a better day than today.
As far as anyone can determine, the pungent odor doesn't hurt anybody. It's just...
not really annoying, but you were aware of the fact that it was there.
In Lee County, I'm Mike Walcher, Wink News Now.
Corporal Randy Hodges with the Lee County Sheriff's Office Agricultural Unit says he's never had someone blatantly admit to animal neglect until now.
He explained to us that he basically had neglected to take care of his animals properly and hadn't checked for a water source since last week.
Deputies arrested Joseph Reyes yesterday. He faces 9 animal abuse charges. A neighbor reported smelling something foul coming from his property. These are pictures of what that neighbor found. One goat got its head stuck in a fence while apparently trying to reach rainwater in a bucket on the other side. Another was so sick it couldn't stand and ultimately died in a neighbor's care.
They're just like children. You can't go off and forget about them and not take care of them. You have a responsibility. If you can't afford the animals, then you should get rid of them.
I've been wondering because I never see anybody pulling in there.
Neighbor Haley Wooten across the street was upset to hear 2 animals had died.
Why do that? Take care of them. Don't buy them if you can't afford them.
We tried to contact Reyes at his listed home address in Cape Coral. People there said they were renting from Reyes and didn't know where he lived. We tried to call Reyes and reached his spouse, who hung up the phone when we asked about the animals.
Hello?
The neighbor who reported what was going on says Reyes was keeping the animals for tax purposes.
There's no excuse for it. Owning animals, you have a responsibility to take care of them.